Have you ever been to Tijuana before?
Yeah, but not during the day.
Oh, so you guys just came for like a nighttime thing?
Just came for the night, yeah.
Yeah.
Just came for the night.
Yeah.
Partied a little bit. Went back over to San Diego.
Yeah.
But-
Were you living in Texas at the time, or were you living?
Yeah, I was still back home in Austin.
Okay, so we're in Tijuana, and we just came here for some tacos.
Yeah.
We drove to San Diego border with Tijuana, parked there, took a shuttle, came into Mexico. It's a reverse. It's like a reverse caravan.
Yeah.
And
we jumped the wall.
yeah, we didn't come in a car. We technically came on a Mexican shuttle.
Yeah. So technically it was a caravan.
Yeah, it was a caravan. But yeah, did you know my? They used to call my brother Taco.
Yeah, his phone number, right?
Yeah, it was like our last 4 digits of our
Was
phone
it
number was 8.
877 Taco?
No.
No, something.
But don't give the whole phone number away.
Oh, yeah,
The
never
person
mind.
that has the phone number is going to get a lot of calls.
Well, that's their problem.
From the 7 viewers I have. So,
Well, that's their problem now.
you know.
Your brother doesn't have the same number.
But it's, so this is my cousin, Aziz. He grew up in Dallas. I grew up in Chicago. But he's my dad's sister's daughter's son. So in our religion, in our culture, I'm his uncle.
Yeah, we're close. So he's technically my mom's cousin, first cousin. But
Yeah.
we're close enough in age to where we've been cousins since we
We're
met.
cousins, but I'm really his uncle.
Yeah, no one calls me.
And
Because Sadiq uncle sounds
they
weird.
they don't call me that, but it's well known. You don't have to call it. You just need to know it, right?
Yeah.
That I'm your uncle.
Didn't you threaten one of our cousins once?
Yeah. For not calling me uncle, I was like
Yeah.
I was like 13. He was in his mid-20s, and he wasn't listening to me. How can you not listen to a 13-year-old?
Especially this 13-year-old.
Who is your chosen uncle? I didn't decide that. God decided. If God wanted him to be uncle, they would have put him into that position, but he didn't.
Yeah, I mean.
So we're in Tijuana. This is Walk with Sadiq, Season 2, Episode 5, Tijuana. Mexico, there's a flag.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so let's do this. So you grew up in Texas, but you're my cousin, but we're actually Ismaili Muslims.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize there's like 72 different denominations of Islam.
Yeah.
There's obviously Sunni and Shia and all those things, right? But there's different brackets underneath it too, like Itnashari and Bora. And we're Ismailis. And do you want to tell us a little bit more about Ismailism versus regular?
Yeah.
Islam?
So, with Ismailis, we're under the Shia sect. So, with that, we follow an imam that's the direct descendant of Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah, you sound crazy right now.
I know.
You didn't take the good route of explaining what Ismailism is.
I know.
No, just keep talking. No, it's
So,
good.
Prophet Muhammad's cousin / son-in-law had kids, and they had kids. And 49 people later, that's the guy that's up right now.
I mean, we don't know that for a fact. That's what
we've been
us.
told. Yeah,
we've been told that.
So-
I mean, it's not like he brought in his like championship pedigree, and then he's like, "Here, look." I go, "I'm the descendant." There's no information like that. I mean, right?
Yeah. I mean,
And it went through a lot of other splits too. It's not like
excuse me.
it's not like it's split at Sunni and Shia.
That was the original split.
Shia, Imami, Ismaili Muslim. So like there's like Ismail. There's like several different splits.
Yeah, there's like you mentioned, Ithnasharis. There is Nizaris.
Yeah, Boras. There's like so
Yeah.
many different ones.
There's tons and tons of splits.
Sufis.
But
so-
that's more on a spiritual plane, kind of like what's Madonna? What kind of Jewish is Madonna?
She's the Orthodox Jewish, or like Kabbalah, like she,
Yeah, Kabbalah. So
Yeah.
Kabbalah Judaism is similar to what Sufism is. It's more
right?
spiritual.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. It's not as much about controlling. I mean, it's all kind of control. It comes down to your culture and controlling.
Yeah.
Down to, you know.
But then again, what religion isn't, right?
Well, I guess that's a whole other topic on its own. But I want to stick with Ismailism because that's a weird one. Like I have a lot of trouble explaining to people what that is because they just see a person praying 5 times on a carpet. We don't do that. We pray 3 times on wooden floors. No, I'm just kidding. On anything we can.
Well, wherever you want.
Most
Wherever
Most Muslims pray facing east, and they have this long prayer. Ismailis don't have that. That's why a lot of other Muslims don't consider.
We are fairly progressive in the world of in the Muslim world. We're very progressive. So
I mean, women are expected to go to college.
yeah, that's the one thing. So
Expected to go to college.
the imam preaches education. Wants everyone to be based on merit. He preaches about a meritocracy.
But he's also a white guy that was born in Geneva.
Yeah.
Like he looks nothing like us.
Not a shade of brown at all.
You know.
But
he's never even fucked a brown woman before. Like he didn't even
Facts.
get a little brown.
not even a
around.
little brown. Yeah.
You know, so like stuff like that confused. Like, oh yeah, he's talking about good stuff, but then it's like, how is this different
Exactly.
than any other?
It's hard to explain it without sounding culty.
Yeah, it definitely sounds cult, but but remember, cult and the difference between a cult and a religion is, religions know how to make money. No, it's religions. So like, it's just a cult. Typically, you can't leave a cult without being disowned.
Yeah.
So that's really the difference. Whereas like Catholicism, you can leave. You won't get disowned necessarily, but it's there. It's like and it's also big enough where they can just be like, we're not cults, you know.
That's true.
So yeah, going back to that, it's like we grew up Ismaili, a whole other denomination of Islam, and I was asking you, how does it feel like growing up with like immigrant parents, right?
Yeah.
Well, like what happened? What do you think is the difference between your immigrant parents and you were first generation here? So you were born.
Yeah.
You're an anchor baby.
I am.
They came here. Your mom dropped you out of her vagina. And a big chain came out, and you're just like hanging down. And then they're trying to remove her, and she's like, "I can't. I've already dropped my anchor."
Anchor was set down.
Sorry, citizenship. Look.
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
So, what do you think is some of the differences
Between
immigrant parents versus being an American kid, like American?
Yeah.
Kid,
I mean, when you
know?
say that, I'm assuming you mean a white kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because our family was kind of rooted in.
I mean, technically, black people are also very American.
Yeah.
But
no.
let's be real here.
Yeah.
They don't, you know.
So.
They're still.
So we grew up very community oriented as far as with our within the Ismailis, but at the same time, you're going to school with very diverse amount of people. So I grew up with a large percentage of black folks and Hispanics.
Yeah, me too.
So you know how it is, right? You have to reconcile that duality that you're living in, trying to still hold your parents' culture without losing that language, food, religion, while at the same time trying to have your own personal experience being raised as an American.
Right. Which is also interesting because you think our parents retained all the traditional shit that their parents had?
Yeah.
No.
Especially because
my dad is using a toilet. Okay? Let's be real here. He didn't stick to traditions, did he?
But he's still using a loto.
My dad, I don't think he's using a lota.
Really?
Maybe he does. I don't really know.
Yeah, it is.
I don't ask him about his bowel movements. And by the way, a lota is like a device in which you fill water and then use it to flush your butt. It's like a poor
big
man's
gulp cup.
Yeah, it's a big gulp cup. It's a poor man's bidet. Yeah. So yeah, and there's, of course, we're in Mexico. There's a fucking donkey.
That's painted like a zebra.
That's painted like a zebra, of course. Is he actually painted, or was that? Really paint? No, right? They had put some, like a.
It's paint.
Is it really paint?
Yeah,
oh, man.
It's like a famous donkey in Tijuana.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the Tijuana the zebra. I think that's what it's called. The actual name of it.
Is it been around forever?
I remember the last time I came here, which was probably 2.5, 3 years ago.
It's like Tijuana's Naked Cowboy, like the Naked Cowboy in New York.
Yeah.
You got the
pretty
Tijuana,
much.
I know.
Every city has its one.
All the girls like
weird landmark. Yeah. Yeah. It's one ass they want to ride.
Is that a gay joke or a straight joke?
Huh? I don't
Nothing.
know. It was a bad joke. That's what it was.
Yeah, it's okay. No, it was okay. It was good.
But yeah, so we were talking about trying to live that duality. And I guess the way both of us grew up, you being in Chicago, me being in Dallas, we had similar interactions with both non-Ismailis and Ismailis. Because
right.
I remember growing up, we were both heavily involved in a lot of stuff in the community. Whether it was, we were in dance contests, competitions together, basketball tournaments. So
and that again sounds weird to anyone on the outside that's also not Muslim, by the way. Not Muslim and not
organized.
also not Ismaili. Yeah, it's almost like having your own another school.
Yeah. So, and I think that was the hardest thing for me growing up. I don't know about you, but just trying to balance both of those while also making my parents understand this is part of what being a kid in America is about.
Right.
That, you have this other group that you're with 8 to 10 hours a day at school, and then your other set of friends that you see, multiple times a day when you go to Khan or the mosque.
Right.
How was it for you?
Yeah, I was involved in it all the time, and my assistant keeps telling me to take my fucking glasses off, and I always forget because people have to see my eyes.
I should do that too.
Yeah, there you go. So, for me, it was interesting because I grew up I grew up very Ismaili.
Yeah.
I used to be involved in all that shit. Like, I went to my mosque every night. Obviously, I went to school. I used to ditch school all the time, so I wasn't that connected with school. I grew up in like the second best school in Chicago from the bottom.
That was always the joke.
From the bottom. Now you guys know about it.
Ah.
I've been making that joke since high school. And so I was very connected to Ismailism, and then all that like Patriot Act and all that bullshit happened, 9/11 happened, and like the shit that a lot of people in America went through, and then I started questioning everything, and then I left everything, became an atheist. So basically what that means is I have to like put my foreskin back onto my penis. That's how you become an atheist. Hey, look, there's 2 zebras. They're lying. There's not one.
Oh, there's another one.
Come on, bro.
Man, hey, I just thought that was the one. What do I know? I'm not from here.
So for me, it's like I had to reconnect again with my people, and I see it from a different way now. It's like it was a good upbringing. It was better than what a lot of people had. And I don't think about like I want to retain my roots, but make my own way, right? So it's the same thing. It's like, and also I realize there's other Ismailis and other Muslims and other people our age that are similar, and that, much more open-minded, and they don't care that I'm an atheist and that I'm soulless.
Yeah,
I gave up my soul for these glasses and this smile. So yeah, I mean, I wanted to get the story out personally because, you know, obviously you're my cousin, but also, or my nephew, and also Ismaili, and that's an interesting topic to have. I'm gonna speed up a little bit so we're not bothering everyone. But you did grow up in Texas, right? And that's another dimension to this whole thing because, I mean, brown person in Texas, and also during 9/11.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, right?
I had
It was
a
a
good
thrill
time.
ride.
Well,
You're always wondering what's gonna happen next.
yeah. Well, the cool, not cool thing about it, there's nothing cool about it. The interesting thing about me being in Texas during that time was I went to a school where it was probably an even split 30 black, white, Hispanic,
Right.
and then 10% other. And I think there was I was one of 2 brown kids in the school, so I meshed well with everybody. I didn't get as much shit at school that I did just walking around
Right.
outside of school.
And you grew up in Dallas.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, not really Dallas. You grew up in like Carrollton and Plano and like more of the suburbs of Dallas.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember because I lived in Dallas or that area during 9/11. And remember, Bush was from Texas too.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
that was you had just moved at
The year before.
Yeah, the year
And
before,
then
yeah.
it happened like pretty much 1 year after I moved there.
yeah.
Maybe the terrorists were celebrating my anniversary. I don't know. They were trying to tell me to get the fuck out of Texas. But, you know, that's when that here is when I learned, like, here's the thing about Texas. It's actually, there's parts that are really cool, but it's such a penal state. You know, and you knew I had a hatred for Texas for
Oh,
a
yeah.
while because I just like,
It's I don't know. I want to say I know the reason why. I don't want to say it's necessarily the city itself, the situation that was
right.
that you were in
Sorry,
was just
thank you. Gracias.
was just a bad situation,
Yeah.
which led down a very dark path.
No, but I feel like that was just part of the. It's part of the
That's part of
Texas
the-
culture, dude. Come on, it's part of the Texas culture. They put you in jail if you don't pay your speeding ticket. You're a criminal
Yeah.
if you don't pay a speeding ticket, and the speeding ticket was like $300 or something.
Yeah.
So like, if you're poor or if you're like 18 like me, you're not trying to pay no speeding ticket.
But are you saying your entire negative experience was because of that entire situation?
I think about not just that, but other situations that occurred there as well.
Yeah, and that
Right?
was
It's because it's a penal state. They give you aggressive sentences. They give you aggressive, and listen, it's not Missouri, okay? I get it, right? But like I said, it's this weird place where it's like, yeah, there's like good things, and back then it wasn't even as developed as it is now. So it's definitely much more developed and much more bluer of a state. Which I don't give a shit about the blue-red thing, but
yeah.
you know, it was much more conservative back then.
Yeah. I mean,
And-
it's eased up.
But it has to
Especially-
be because the young people are growing up and they're like,
Exactly.
we're not going to
Yeah,
deal
yeah.
with this bullshit.
And especially I spent 13 years in Austin, so I left Dallas in 2005 and was in Austin from 2005 to last August, so 2018.
Right.
And especially in Austin, it's a
Austin's
completely
different.
completely
Austin,
different
you
scenario.
can't even
yeah.
count as Texas,
Yeah.
honestly.
So, I think if you had spent that whatever year and a half.
Yeah,
you were
but
in
that
Austin-
doesn't. But
in
that.
Austin,
But I think eventually I would have figured it out, dude.
Yeah.
Because eventually I would have figured it out that Texas is like this. I didn't have to live in Arizona and have bad things happen to me in Arizona
Yeah.
for me to figure out how Arizona is,
Yeah, I guess.
right? It's just that there was more of an immediate experience with Texas
Yeah, that's true.
that pushed
Yeah.
it to that other level.
You're right.
Right? But I never said like, oh, I don't like Texas, but I love Arizona. I never did that, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's it's growing, it's getting better, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What's so great about Texas? Oil?
Yeah, I mean, at
What's
this
so
point,
great?
Austin itself, that's the only city that will vouch for in Texas.
Did you
now.
hear that, rest of Texas? He hates you.
didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said Austin is the best city in Dallas.
I said I don't mind Texas at all.
I mean,
He also hates the word y'all.
I know. I love y'all. It's
Y'all,
such a great word.
He said
Y'all is the best
racism
word.
isn't even the worst thing that's happened in Texas. It's the word y'all.
Absolutely, y'all.
That's
is the
what he
best
said.
word
He said that if
it has so many uses.
he'd rather have racist things happen to him than someone use the word y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'd rather have someone be like,
Hey, towelhead.
go back to your country.
Yeah, I'd rather have that than have anyone
than
ever
say
y'all.
towelhead. You know,
Y'all towelheads
y'all
need to go.
towelhead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Y'all get out of here right now.
So,
Boy.
yeah, so, you know, I mean, it's cool to discuss that. So, I mean, I grew up in Chicago. So, for me, even though I had that same inner city upbringing, I was able to be in like a pretty much first class city, but even then it's still bad there now.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends, but I don't think I'd ever live in Texas again. There's too many places.
That's the thing. There are so many cities that are becoming more popular, more cool.
And you're not even like thinking in terms of like European cities and like international
if you're sticking
cities.
just within the U.S.
You know,
I mean, Denver's become such a populated city because of the culture there. Portland, like I said, Austin's grown to become the best city.
And again, this is my cousin Aziz. We're doing Walk with Sadiq in Tijuana, and we just came down. I was staying in Los Angeles, and I was like, hey, you want to go down to Tijuana? We drove down, parked in San Diego, took a shuttle over, had some tacos, thought we'd do a little recording.
Yep.
Also, if you want to follow him or if you want to send creepy messages to him, his handle is Aziz So Fresh on Twitter and Instagram. And Aziz is spelled just like Aziz Ansari. Ironically, they're both the same height too. So Aziz So Fresh on Instagram and Twitter.
But I'm boring and I don't post much, so sorry in advance for the lack of content.
So just follow me.
Yeah, do that.
Or just go to my website, sayhisname.com, for all my shows and all my info.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the last thing I want to really discuss with you is, well, a couple things. Actually, first off, I want to add one more thing. I got this new gimbal. I upgraded my gimbal, so I've been using gimbals, or two different gimbals for a while now. I had the Zion gimbal originally because the Osmo Mobile 1, it was too expensive, the Osmo Mobile 1, and so I got the Zion one. And it had all these good features. It was only $120. Then I got the Movi Free Fly thinking, oh, it's Movi, it's gonna be awesome. And it ended up being like a side handle type of gimbal, so you held it from the side. This one I'm holding perpendicular to my hands. So I ended up getting the Osmo Mobile 3, which they haven't paid me for this, but I really like the gimbal. So if you're looking for a good gimbal, I'm now suggesting the Osmo Mobile 3.
Not a sponsor.
Is not a sponsor. Just giving my review. It's pretty good. It's handling pretty well. What do you think of it?
I mean,
it's doing pretty well.
It looks nice, sleek. And sign looks pretty ergonomic.
And and I have this trigger button that kind of like holds the camera in place. So I can do this, and then I can like pull it down, and it stays really, really smooth, right?
And now I look tall.
Yeah, but he's not.
But I'm not.
Last thing I want to talk about is actually mental health. And you told me something that was interesting a while back that I was like, that's something we can talk about. Not people are talking about it, but it's different when it's like your own family and your own cousins and shit, right?
Yeah.
So you're telling me you used to work at Apple, right?
I did, yeah.
And well, tell me that story. You had knee surgeries, or what you were in Texas, you're in Austin, you worked for Apple, you were in training, you were training people.
I started in sales, and apparently I was very good at it. So I went to training, started training so there could be a bunch of mini-me's. So I was doing that. I started at Apple in 2000.
Are you sure there's only one?
Dude, that's the third one. Jesus Christ.
So, no, we're good. Thank you.
So I started at Apple in 2011, call center. So I was the Indian guy answering your computer needs. Worked there, worked my way up. And at some point, burnout started becoming a thing. The corporate life, and this isn't to specifically dog on Apple because I had a great time there. That's where I started my career. I had a really good time. I learned a lot. But the only thing is the overworked, underappreciated, underpaid.
Right. And you weren't getting the growth that you wanted.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Upward mobility was a big issue. And at some point, I had to take a look in the mirror, and
and of course, he's small, so the mirror is really short.
The mirror was really short. It made me realize that my talents are being wasted.
Right.
I had an opportunity. At this point, I had 2 bad knees, and at that point, I wanted to take a step away from work. So I decided to get surgery on both knees, 3 months apart, and took FMLA for a really long time just to get away from this environment.
What's FMLA?
Family Medical Leave.
Association?
Something.
But Alzheimer's?
It's essentially paid medical leave from work. An extended medical leave. So I maxed that out just to get away from the environment. I could have been back after the first surgery. I could have been back at work in a month and then taken another month off of the other leg. But I went from September to July. I took that much time off. And then I started back in July of, I think.
So this was basically you took time off for the knees and then time off for the mental health.
Yeah, for mental health.
So just, the moral of that story is if you have injuries or if you have mental problems, you're going to have a breakdown, make sure you're working for Apple because you can be hooked up with that FMLA, baby.
Yeah, extended time off. So while I was gone, I would get phone calls asking when I was coming back so they could, start schedule. And the thought of it started I started getting very anxious. Panic attacks started kicking in. It's the first time physical symptoms like that had kicked in. Because I've always had, minor anxiety here and there. But just the thought of going back started kicking in. And I had to figure out why was that happening. And I had a complete breakdown. Started getting extremely down, random breakouts of sobbing. I wouldn't even say crying, but sobbing for no reason. And I'm not a crier at all.
He stopped shaving his beard, and it's this big. It used to be like right down there. Yeah.
And it's very unlike me. So at that point, I knew I needed to get help. So I sought out a therapist, started therapy. It was probably the best decision I've ever made in my life because it made me dig into who I am as a person, what makes me tick, what my motivations are, why I do the things I do, and how I personally feel fulfilled. And it taught me to do check-ins with myself whenever I started feeling angry or down or anxious, panicky, whatever. It made me do self-evaluations, and that helped. It made me become a lot more self-aware than I was. And so...
if you were discussing this with someone like 10 years ago, we'd be calling you a fag.
Oh, absolutely. It's something that we don't talk about.
We still call you a fag now, but not for that reason.
Yeah, it's because I like dick.
I think he's joking on that one. He's just trying to get those homosexual likes on Facebook.
Yes. I need that validation. But yeah, it's one of those things that I never thought I would do, and I thought it was a sign of weakness. But understanding that you need help and want to take the step for self-betterment,
Right.
it's a strong
Well,
step that you have to make.
especially since we haven't grown up like we
In a scenario
in a world that mental health is could even be a problem.
Yeah.
So we weren't aware
if
of
you're
that.
feeling down, go take a nap, you'll feel better. That was always the solution.
Right.
And we were raised in a culture where fuck your feelings, suck it in, suck it up, and put a smile on your face.
Right.
So the fact that I was able to be self-aware enough to actually go and start that path of seeing somebody to help me navigate my issues
Right.
was a big deal. And I'm happy I did it. Definitely started a path of, it calmed me down a lot. And then realized my time there had come to an end at Apple. Just because there was, like I said, there was no upward mobility.
I'm keeping them entertained. You're telling the story.
Hey, okay.
Okay, it's like people are crying on the other end.
I'm sorry. I
and
know
I'm
it's
trying
an
to do
emotional
like
story.
some jokes in the middle of it. Someone told
But,
me. Someone told me the other day I was at the Chicago South Asian Film Festival.
Yeah.
A short of mine, not mine. I'm in it. It made it into the festival, but someone at the festival when I was leaving, they were basically like, they gave me a hug and they're like, "Hey, be yourself more." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?
How much more
You
can you?
want you? I mean, I can do a lot more, but I don't do it because I'm, worried, society and shit." And she's like, "Don't worry about society." I'm like, "I need bodyguards first, like I need security around me. Then I'm gonna do some security and lawyers. Then I'm gonna fuck shit up, bro. I'm gonna fuck shit up." I tell
Take
people,
the world over, man.
I tell people, I found a correlation between the amount of risk I take with things and the amount of money I have to afford a lawyer. So right now you can't jaywalk in California, but I jaywalk all the fucking time. What are they gonna do? I'm gonna have a lawyer, but soon I'm gonna have Walmart money, baby. All right. So finish your thoughts. Mental health, yes. Are you for or against mental health?
Huge advocate, especially in the brown community. We don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about our feelings enough.
What about mental people? For or against?
Huh? What?
Are you for or against mental people?
What the hell does that even mean?
Are you for or against mental people?
Sure.
You're for them?
Yeah.
You don't want to get them better?
I'm for them. Yeah.
I would be against mental people.
What? How is that? That would
I want
mean
every
you don't
people.
care.
I want every people to be unmental.
Unmental. All right. That made no sense.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying stuff out. No one's watching this anyway. I feel like this is where I get the opportunity to try stuff out later on. When I become famous, or if I become famous, people will come back and look at this video and be like, "Oh, he said that 3 times." Four times, I think now.
Cancel culture, dude. Cancel.
But yeah, I mean, that's really our time. We're about to end our conversation. We're in Tijuana. Thanks for coming out with me.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
No one else I'd rather do this for.
Yeah. My name is Sadiq. Sayhisname.com. So get all my info, my shows, and all that shit. This is Aziz Charania. Aziz So Fresh on Instagram and Twitter.
Yes, sir.
Find him. And next time on Walk with Sadiq, where am I gonna be?